lives.
Yeah. Any conflicts of interest with today's agenda? Hearing none, agenda is approved as written. Reading of the minutes.
April 22nd, 2025, the Board of Supervisors met at 9 AM with Dave Mulbauer, Chair presiding, members present were Schultz, Dozark, Mulbauer, Hayden, and Rosberg. Minutes of the previous meeting were read and approved. On motion, the board recognized claims for public health and approved claims for all other departments. The board approved the clerk of court fees for March 2025. The board approved hiring Charles Gatto, seasonal part-time roadside technician, engineer's office. Cindy Gosler on-call position, assessor's office, Nicholas Grote, full-time deputy sheriff's office. The board approved the resignation of Jordan Hanson, full-time deputy sheriff's office. The board had a discussion with Ben Chabin and Tim Berry, co-engineers, about the embargo on Aryan Avenue and a portion of 210th Street extending from the intersection with County Road E59 north to the south corporate limits of the city of Aryan. No action was taken at this time. Motion was made by Hayden, seconded by Rosberg, to approve to amend the date for public hearing for budget of fiscal year 2026. The date has been set for April 29th, 2025, 10 AM, the Board of Supervisors room. Motion passed unanimously. A motion was made by Dozark, seconded by Schultz, to approve the following resolution, 2025-19, insurance premiums, health insurance premiums, Plan 2526. And all that information is included in that resolution, approved. Let's see, voting aye, Schultz, Dozark, Mulbauer, Hayden, and Rosberg. Motion passed unanimously. A motion was made by Hayden, seconded by Dozark, to approve the estimate for trim to complete flooring project from Innovation Construction LLC for $6,304. Motion passed unanimously. At 10:34 AM, a motion was made by Schultz, seconded by Hayden, to open the closed session pursuant to Iowa Code 21.5 subsection C, which allows for closed session pending or imminent litigation. Motion passed unanimously. At 10:43 AM, a motion to close the closed session passed unanimously. At 10:44 AM, a motion was made by Rosberg, seconded by Dozark, to open the closed session pursuant to Iowa Code 21.5 subsection C, which allows for closed session pending or imminent litigation. Motion passed unanimously. At 11:23, a motion was made by Schultz, seconded by Dozark, to close the closed session. Motion passed unanimously. On motion, duly seconded, board adjourned at 11:26. Agendas for the next meeting are posted and available at the courthouse on Friday, 4:30 PM, preceding the next meeting.
Any corrections or comments on the minutes? And then minutes are approved as written. Thank you. Supervisor reports.
Well, went up Cherokee Friday to the meeting up there. It was nothing too crazy up there. Numbers are kind of down. Right, covers so much. My crazy works here.
We still have room for expansion.
Yeah. There, that's still being talked about down in Des Moines, trying to work to embed spaces loose out of Polk County, the little island in the sea of common sense, So it was a really short meeting, which was nice for one, but long drive for a short meeting.
Ours are never short anyway. That's because we're all closed session for damn sake.
So it's kind of, they're painting rooms up there, that's how. Cheryl said her name was mentioned several times. She'd like to change the narrative on how her name was mentioned in the carvings in the room. I said, well, you can set that. Paint over it and write something new.
Oh, my.
You don't think she's addressed very kindly?
Oh. Fix that. Nope, that's about that, we're gonna roof the CCC building this week.
One more C. 3 Cs.
3 Cs and
And an S,
Triple C.
triple C,
Cross Guardian County,
yeah.
sort of.
The roof,
ain't been around
the
real.
plan was that, now you asked what color, I said probably about the same color.
Yeah.
But the gutters, I think, are gonna be brown instead of beige. So,
That'd be nice.
yeah. I already told Dave and I told, Louise, be on the lookout for that, so
Sweet.
that'll be done. So we'll have the roof, heating, air conditioning, flooring,
You like
everything.
Brand new
Damn,
building.
they're a brand new building.
Woo.
I still feel it's a big asset to our community,
It is.
with the fact that I just feel so badly that, Jackson Recovery and anybody that is, told they have to take any programs for their addiction has to go all the way over to Manning, and I just feel like we lose some of the people that need that service, because a lot of those folks don't have a car, family's probably not real friendly with them, because they've made some wrong decisions in their lives possibly. Crawford County has no place for those people to meet, and I just think that that building could come in very handy, if they don't have to pay rent.
It'd be fantastic if we get all moved in there and get situated.
Right, and we're having conversations with HHS on how that's gonna work out with them, to rent us through over there, and so.
So are they completely out of the Nepal building?
I still have to get those toys out, and I still need the key afterwards. I went down there yesterday, I was gonna replace those older Becky
I think
toys.
we've gotten everything else.
Yep.
Like we got the chairs for the election room.
Yep. And those were,
Yeah,
nice to
they were in
have.
great
And then
shape,
They
so.
did take one of the bigger tables and put it in the,
They did.
they were working on it. I couldn't get in there yesterday. I didn't know why it would be locked. There's something in there with some toys, but remind me today to grab that key and I'll finish it. I'm donating toys to the new space so that they have some toys that haven't been like so beat up and used. Everybody will be glad to see me get rid of my baby toys. You never know when I'm gonna need them again.
Dave finds it. No.
Well, if anybody needs them, they can.
Not funny, Jerry.
Sorry.
So that should be
Sorry,
done,
not
but,
sorry.
I did
Sounds to
find
me
out.
like Terry's wanting to help you check bands.
She's qualified. Yeah, I'll take my turn.
And I just had, some road discussions with the gentleman and Paul and Damon had already been out there and addressed it. And so now I went out yesterday and addressed it with the gentleman again. Damon showed it and trying to make sure we get right so we don't end up in court again, so. And he was understanding after I kind of explained that to him that, you know, there's reasonings why Paul and Damon explained it to you the way we did, the way they did, so he was fine with that. They're gonna work with him on some other things to try to help soothe his problems, but
Ongoing issue, or is this a new issue?
it's an ongoing issue that's kind of only when it rains. So as long as it don't rain, it's not a problem, but it rained last week, became a problem. As long as it don't rain again, it won't be a problem.
Hope it rains again.
Just the benefit of owning land on the downhill side. We're only limited to so much we can do. Water has natural flow. You can't change that. No matter how bad they want it to be changed. It's not our purview to dump water up.
Look at Saddle Creek Road.
Can't build the road. They did.
Just saying.
All right,
That's
that's
a
all.
bunch of noise on the top floor.
I think there's a wedding going on.
Oh,
Well, there'd be reason to be happy.
Yeah.
really?
Right. You said it so depressingly, didn't it?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my goodness.
Sure, last week, we had, I'm on the finance committee with Wesco, so we had a special meeting because their budget season is exact same as ours is. And so the finance committee got a budget approved so that we could bring it before the board, which our meeting was yesterday. We moved our meetings to noon on the fourth Monday of the month, not in the evening. And so just because, and I guess I put a public request out there is Wesco is looking for more board members. Their bylaws say they should have between 8 and 11, and they currently have 6. And so they moved the meetings to noon just so people might have a better chance of getting to the meeting instead of having an evening meeting. And so if you know of someone that'd be interested or someone that you think of, I can give a call to, just let me know, and I'd be happy to talk to them and let them know what Wesco's about.
Does it have to be certain, like, are they looking for certain people, certain?
I mean, I think
job
they like people,
Criteria or something,
Criteria?
yeah.
they don't have any prerequisites. I mean, it'd be nice to have someone that would be, you know, maybe retired from education or retired from a hospital.
Financial.
Right, financial background. Some Wesco's really grown. I mean, they're over $12 million is what they generate every year. So I mean, just probably 6 years ago, they were at 5, so they've grown very dramatically. And so it'd be nice to have people with a professional background that would be willing to serve. And it seems like the retired ones, if they're not, you know, it's just one day a month. We're gonna buy you lunch.
Off top of my head, Mike Bundy, he was with the school, retired, he was active in ECI.
Yep, he does.
Is he still?
Yep, he still goes to meetings, yep.
Here's the thought, I don't know if he'd be interested or not.
Right.
He's one that asks questions and.
Yeah, he does.
He does,
He was a principal for the middle school,
I think so, yeah. Yeah, he's kind of laid back, but yet still, you know,
digs in.
digs in and, has his opinion.
I mean, you know, because I mentioned like Mike Pardon and Scott Larson,
Right,
Dave Weavers is retiring this year.
yeah.
And they've already gotten no's from Mike Pardon and Scott Larson. So they've already reached out to them, but you know, people like that, I think that would be nice to have people with that type of a background to serve on the board.
I think that's a big one.
Okay.
You know, like we have with Bill Bruce being on there, past CEO at the hospital, I mean, that brings an element that the board needs.
And he's not.
Because, the Audubon County Supervisor left and Audubon hasn't sent anyone else up here, and I guess, 9 or 10 years ago, when the relationship changed between the counties and Wesco, it made it optional that they could put someone on the board as a county supervisor or not, they didn't have to. And at that point in time, Carroll, Crawford, and Audubon did, but they don't serve any people in Audubon County. So Audubon, we're gonna reach out, and see if they would still wanna put someone on, but they don't serve any people there. So I mean, Carroll has Stephanie, she's, comes over from Carroll County, so.
Rick Thompson was a good board member.
What's that?
Rick Thompson, that was on.
Yeah.
He was
He's good.
good. Listen, he was on Region 12 with us.
So, just a few things about Wesco. I know I brought this up before, but I think it's always nice to hear, but on their supported employment side, they have 30, I think I read them before, but they have 30 active businesses that participate. 88 individuals are served. The Stepping Stones program since its inception has served 176 persons. And they said that, just recently, somebody stopped by that they now live in Omaha. They have a girlfriend and that they just got promoted to a management position and they were just stopping by to thank Wesco for, what they did and how they helped them with that Stepping Stones
Get a step
program.
up. Yep.
And so that's a really good program. It only has 8 beds. I mean, that's for 8 beds and they served 176 people. So.
Revolving door.
Right, and I don't know how long that's been. I asked them, but nobody seemed to know when that actually started. But,
It wasn't there before. Didn't they start when we were home?
No, it was on when we came on, but it was relatively new.
New.
Yeah.
Kind of new.
But what a great way to use an old rectory.
No kidding.
Well, it sounds like it's doing a good job.
Right. Right.
It's in harm's way though of a cut.
Well, it is. They're not sure how the funding's gonna work moving forward. They're hoping to find out before all this comes around on July first.
So I have a letter that
Can't
they're
imagine
asking
they had
us
ladders
to
in here.
sign
Yes.
of support. I'm having it printed and then we'll get everybody to sign it.
Came in, sat down.
That we support it, so,
So you got that
I
letter,
do have it and I just asked Megan to
Time to
print it, so I
order
can
some
pass it around, but she might.
because the board, the Wesco board is sending a letter.
Right, I just think it'd be
Perfect,
appropriate.
yes.
That would be great.
Yep, let me see if she's got anything.
Their, site 23, house that they built on, 19th Street, should be done. They're just waiting for some countertops in. And that will be done, late May. It's a 5-bedroom and they got 4 people already signed up to go in there. The bake shop, will be open in late May also. So that's encouraging, and got an early childhood thing today, and I just thought today at noon, but I thought we kind of mentioned a few weeks ago about the fact that the Crawford County Board of Supervisors from 1932 to 1957 was a 3-person board. And so I thought I'd just give a little bit of history on this, but, a resolution, whereas on October 6, 1932 at 9:30, there was filed in the office of the county auditor of Crawford County a petition addressed to the Board of Supervisors of Crawford County asking that the following proposition be submitted to the qualified voters of Crawford County at the general election to be held November 8th, 1932. To wit, shall the proposition to reduce the number of supervisors to 3 be adopted? And whereas said petition has been duly examined by the Board of Supervisors and found to be duly and legally signed by 1,748 qualified electors of Crawford County. Wherefore be it resolved by the Board of Supervisors that said petition has been duly and legally presented to this board, and that the required number of qualified electors of Crawford County as provided by section 5108 of the 1931 Code of Iowa have duly and legally signed and said petition, and that said petition is a proper and correct petition as required by law. Further resolved, the following proposition to which shall the proposition to reduce the number of supervisors to 3 be adopted. Then it was signed by all of the Board of Supervisors. So it was put on the ballot, and when they canvassed the votes, on the following proposition, shall the proposition to reduce the number of supervisors to 3 be adopted? There were 2,741 votes cast for the proposition, 1,150 votes cast in the negative, and the numbers of the Board of Supervisors, county canvassers declared said proposition to have been and is adopted. So it was done by proposition. I give kudos, and I didn't know this, to the Aurelius Library, but they have a lot of their stuff that's on microfilm you can access that online. And I didn't know that, but you can. And so I got an article from after the vote, and there was a opinion piece that was written concerning this, and it just said that the voters of Crawford County are taking, I think the Financial Times in 1932 were really, really poor. And they were looking at ways to cut the taxes in Crawford County. And so according to the article, that is why it was done, was the voters of Crawford County want to reduce the tax asking on the members. And so therefore they moved it from 5 to 3, the number of supervisors. Nothing to do with anything that we kind of heard, maybe something happened that was nefarious with the Board of Supervisors, but
When did it go back to 5 then?
That's what it was.
so it went back to 5 in 1957. So moving forward, maybe next week, maybe the week after, but I'll have then as to what happened going back in 1957 back to 5.
All right.
So,
See if Eric Scoot's story is always correct about the nefarious gravel.
okay.
Uh,
But, and the thing, when it went from 5 to 3, only one of the current 5 members of the Board of Supervisors chose to run that year. So for the 3,
Oh,
and so there we got two new people.
so it's still a similar process.
Yeah.
The people can petition
Yep.
and you have to have a qualified
number.
number of And I think it's based on the
The
last,
last
the
election.
last.
General election
Yeah.
or something like that, yeah.
So how
I'm
did
not
they
too
decide
sure I
what
was
three
on
got
the
to stay?
three-person board while the
Was
crap-
Well,
It was
a
an
vote, just a
election,
high,
there was a
high vote. Everybody was on the ballot.
Oh, okay,
Too much,
okay.
I'll say, wanna pay me a lot more, 'cause I'm
I was-
gonna have to put a lot more time in.
And
That's
just
an
for-
Interesting point. I wonder if they had as many boards outside of back in 1932, if they had to go to.
I mean, back in,
I wonder when they met.
No, development, and they had to.
they did because,
Mental health.
well, one thing that I, you know, government has certainly changed over time, as well it should. But back in those days, the townships ran a lot of stuff, that every township had a justice of the peace, and every township had what was called a constable. And so
that's
So a
law
lot of
enforcement.
decisions and things were made on the township level, that I think if the
Interesting.
township would then petition the board of supervisors if they wanted something done above and beyond, because every township levied a tax on their township members.
So it's broken down into another.
It was into two,
They still
right,
do.
into another
Well, they do,
level.
but
Townships still levy tax.
They do, right.
it sounds like they did
So do you
more.
think, looking forward, as, that evolved, do you see us becoming that partial to the state where we would have to?
I think that'll be, what do you wanna say?
The board of supervisors have to
A
go-
difficult discussion to have amongst counties. As our population changes in the state.
I mean, that's what probably caused it in the rural area, in the
Rural
township,
people started leaving.
so they didn't need the constables.
Right, I mean, the
It was probably more cost effective. to
Soldier
have
Township had
a
one justice of the peace, two
Law
constables.
enforcement.
The, most of them had one justice of the peace, one constables, a lot of them had one justice of the peace and two constables. And just for curiosity's sake, and this was,
Like where it's a thing organization.
claims that were paid in the general fund
Just today's date.
Yeah.
in 1932. The treasurer paid out a gopher bounty of $1,169.20
That's a lot of.
for a month.
A lot of gophers.
Okay.
That's a lot of gophers.
Per month.
Because it was probably
This
pretty
was in
small.
that, for this month, for that 1 month.
That kinda like hunting prairie dogs out west,
So. we might have to just
keep
spend-
cows from tripping, breaking.
What did they pay per air?
I don't know what they paid per pair. I mean, when I was a teenager, I think they paid a quarter. When I brought mine in here, I got it in the auditor's office, I think paid it. But, it was a quarter, so I can't believe back then it would have been more than a nickel. But
Wow.
But it
that's
is
a
a lot
lot.
of money.
that's just a lot of
Did
money.
you say 1,000?
$1,169.20, which makes you think it's either a nickel, a dime, or 20 cents, but.
Divided by 20 cents, that's 5,846 gophers.
Very plentiful.
That's a lot of claws coming up to the county
Yeah.
courthouse.
That's a lot of sausage.
Those were the good old days.
Sausage.
Just what Terry once brought back.
And,
You can wait 6 years or so for that to happen.
the engineer's office had a livery stable
Oh, nice.
back in 1932.
32.
Would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was a bill for the livery stable for $75.04, and they had repairs in the sheriff's residence and jail for $5.82.
Insurance, right?
And what you can do for $5.82.
They look at the courthouse there.
Now,
You
why
can
would
see
it be
in
as
there.
residents that they,
They
that
must have
jump
been-
less the jail back then?
I don't know.
I think
Well, we used to, back when, was it Steer when he was, didn't his family live?
But I mean,
It wasn't the LEC, it was.
when you talk about like the Yes Center, back in the days, they just had what was called a poor fund. And out of that poor fund, they would pay individuals, they would pay people's rent, they would give people food money, they would give, money for kids' food. They would, pay money out of all that.
That was in 36,
That was 32.
32.
Burial expenses for individuals that can afford it.
We still do that.
Would the residents be on the county property and that's why the sheriff had to live there?
I don't know.
But they would buy coal for people's homes that can afford it.
Wow.
So, it was just different before, then they had, you know, other government agencies that came in and started doing that, and that's our government starting to grow, and then we would give money to that government agency to go help the poor. It used to be, it was just a direct thing where the county government would do that, and now we started building all these other government entities to
So
help
when did we
do that.
do the county farm? When did we,
Well, we had the county farm,
back then?
yes,
Yes.
yes,
It shut down probably what, 70s or 80s?
about 77,
I
78.
remember it still being.
I remember it being there, yeah.
So anyway, that's just, I just thought I'd add that. It was interesting information.
It is interesting.
Is that everything, Greg?
Yep.
I have Megan, working on that draft. I hope it's okay the way we're kind of doing it, so we can sign it today and get that forwarded on, that was sent to me by Dawn. And they finally, have the closeout, for how that's all gonna work. It's very well written. Region closeout plan approved and prepared for Rolling Hills. Thank you very much. So they're gonna start getting rid of their assets. They really don't have many, desktop computers, docking stations, keyboards, TVs, Culligan water dispenser, so forth and so on. And how they're gonna, some of those things are gonna keep, for DAP. What is that? What's the acronym for that? I don't even know. But Dawn's gonna stay on until September to kind of make sure that we get these things all closed out. The transition period goes a little bit because there'll be, things that still need to be paid. So, transition period for the CEO completed by 12/31 of 2025, payroll to close out for that period of claims. But they only estimate that to be $35,000. I'm not sure, exactly how that's gonna work. But it's quite detailed. It's kind of, I think, what we've been waiting for, all along, is how that's actually right down to the, so you will be getting a letter tomorrow to terminate, this, that's gonna go out to the auditors, how they're gonna terminate everything. But just giving you a heads up that that's gonna happen. This letter's going around, but I was glad to hear that Dawn's gonna stay on for a while, because to have that all completely done by June 30th just seemed like a task because there's gonna be services that would be disrupted if we didn't have it, nice, even. So they have that figured out. I just thought you'd want to know that, but otherwise tomorrow,
And now
yep.
funding for that after July 1st,
All comes from the state.
coming from the state.
The money, any money.
I mean, that was one of the top discussions Friday, was that when these regions were established, there was funds fronted and put in an emergency fund in case. And where are them funds at and what are they being used for? And that should be used up. These funds should be used up. I know Don Cass and Carl Vandenberg were talking, well, where's these funds at? That we had to all put into an emergency fund for each region, had to establish so much funds. And where's these funds at? And how come we're not using them? Did they just get swiped by the state?
Yep. Complete and final reconciliation of funds using a report template to be supported by Iowa HHS, and that targeted completion date is actually 12/31.
Well, they said that they figured most regions will not be, even by 12/31, they figured some of them regions still won't have it.
Yeah. This all looks really organized and good, but if in reality, it can work as smoothly as
Look
this.
at the fronts of some of those.
But, the key dates, I'm not gonna read it all to you. I can
No.
pass it around, but there's, everything kind of has a different date, a targeted completion date for some things is June 30th. So it's not like immediately like we all thought that, those are. That some of it is August 31st, May 1st, you're getting all public place announcements of close on Rolling Hills website, update information and things that you didn't even think about what happens to those websites and how that gets transferred over. I can pass that on.
Do you want us to?
Otherwise, we've got the,
Sign right
storage
below.
space down below the, old Jim Brown, where we had, clinics for public health and where our HHS folks would meet. We got that cleaned out. There were some chairs down there that they were really, I thought they were too good to actually just take to the dump, and some of them went to public health. Kim had said her chair was 17 years old. She hadn't had a new chair since she'd been there. So she was delighted. Karen Donchesky had just had that back surgery, and so she sat in a couple of them, and they were a great improvement from what she had. So some went there. And then we hadn't thought about what we were gonna sit in the new election room, and so some of the chairs went there. And I think Paul might have taken a couple. Ben, I talked to Ben to see if he needed some. So those
Hopefully.
went to good use, and there wasn't much down there. I did talk to Jim Brown, about the new owner, and he had talked to the new owner and the things that we did want to get out of there, such as there's one of those really, really heavy steel desks that would have taken an army to get out. He said that the new owner could probably find a place for that. But that the rent would have been going up to, he thought probably $1,000 if we would have decided to stay there, so. So I'm glad we found a place for all of that, and the transition, for public health. Those things all fit kind of nice. Now the cots, I believe they got those
I
finally.
hope so. Thoughts come out?
Did they get the cots? Zach?
I don't know.
I didn't see them down there, so I'm thinking the right people have them.
I hope
But
so.
that's
I hope
moving
so, too.
along. We should be getting her glass door put in end of the week.
Okay.
And the door was
This yesterday, they got those out yesterday morning,
Okay.
the cops.
Okay.
Thank you. Yep, because it was moving day, and Wesco came and helped, and that was very successful, a couple of strong boys, and there was a gal that was organizing it all and, had the trucks backed up, and it just, got it moved out pretty fast. They've been having the, clinics in the new building, and that's going nicely. I did show you guys the pictures of how nice those look in there, so hopefully we'll get public health moved over here soon. The suggestion was not for a while, but I think we're gonna try to get it transitioned where, maybe one group moves and gets settled, and, so it's not such a big rush, and working with the board to try to make that transition be as easy. We could close on a day and do it all at once, but I think, for simplicity, we're probably gonna have to move one, like the, home workers over. Corey said we can have internet at both places. He can tunnel it over, and that won't be a problem. That was one of the concerns, is that they wouldn't be able, they're working on grants right now, so. Working on that, but, keep moving along. I know Louise loves her space, and the veterans love their space, and, we got the trim completely finished in the room. So downstairs looks really good. It really does. And upstairs does too. There's just a few very, very small things that need to be done. So we're working on it, but life is good. Good. That's all I have.
Ty?
I seen Terry started filling this out where.
I did.
Yeah.
Can we get some details on
Yeah.
that so we can finish filling it out? Is
Yeah.
that the one from
That's
the
the
folder?
99 county tour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ISAC wants to come and visit.
But
There were things I just didn't know,
Are you
so
volunteering to be the?
I can fill it in. Yeah, I'll fill it out, but I just needed the board's input
We go
on
over that
the
quick?
time frame and all that kind of stuff.
Your
Yeah.
phone number, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Check the box, the time frame, visit, blah, 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 say a 2-hour open house town hall, I assume to all the entire courthouse? Is that what she's wanting, that town hall?
Yeah, probably any department heads that
Anybody-
can, or
just
whatever,
department
public.
heads?
I imagine public?
I would think
mean,
so.
I
Put
would
it
think
on-
so too.
Put it on our website and
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that wouldn't be the worst thing.
yeah.
Spring, summer, fall, winter, morning, afternoon, there's 3 color codes, so maybe Jean should do this, I don't.
I'd say summer afternoon.
Summer, afternoon, and on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. On a Tuesday,
We could do it
We're already
on,
best way to get the supervisors over there.
We're
we
already
could do
here.
it next Tuesday afternoon after our
Like a
meeting.
1 o'clock
Mhm.
on Tuesday,
Okay.
okay? Any other information would be helpful with scheduling? Be here with bells on, ready to go to work. In what county building
Courthouse, right?
Obviously the courthouse, and they have the town hall down in the conference room.
Yep, on the first floor, yeah.
Okay. Please select 2 topics of interest to be discussed at the town hall. Certified Iowa County Supervisor Program, really would be just for us, so I don't think that'd be a good town hall.
I don't know.
Right.
Government relations, that's probably a good
I
one.
would say government relations.
That'd be a good one, because that's what one of their primary functions for us, other than education and stuff. Group health and wellness program, Iowa County Attorney's Case Management, ICAMP. Yeah, that's more or less,
That's a public.
that really wouldn't be a town hall.
The group, the group.
Iowa
we don't-
Precinct Atlas Consortium, IPAC. ISAC Events and Corporate Opportunities. IT and Tech Services, Legal Services.
IT and tech could be a interesting topic because that RFP we put out that's gonna put together a program that would help all offices interoperability and work together.
What would that mean by ISAC events and corporate opportunities, like for sponsorship?
No, well, look, one, is that part of the IT part, one too?
No,
I'm saying the IT one could be.
IT
benefit-
and Tech Services Bureau.
That could be interesting for the department heads, and maybe by that time they'd be able to talk more about the program that we're RFPing for all the offices to be able to work together under one program.
Sure. Yeah, that probably would have been work. Got that? All right, thanks. And then it also had listed on there, this would be more than 2, but at NACO, other things you'd like them to talk about, anything? Anything?
I think the government relations would be a big one.
I think the government relations.
I think, well, government relations and that one.
That might
we did
pick up the
check.
whole time.
Right.
Especially if they bring, Jamie and Lucas. What is an iconic spot or county treasure for the ISAC team to stop for a picture and a short tour during the visit, like a trendy spot? County, Donnery Theater, Dow
McHenry
House, huh?
McHenry House,
McHenry House.
down Reed Theater would be close.
Yeah, it ain't far. So is it presentable? Has anybody been in there lately?
I have,
I don't know.
I wish they'd have kind of handed that over to somebody that wanted to redo the thing. They're just kind of been hard to get along with, and then they're not here, so I think they forget about it.
Might be nice for them to visit another town besides Denison, though.
Well, that's what I was thinking,
Or
the
an
Dow House
iconic-
is always, and then the cabin's not really much done with it yet, is it?
yeah.
No,
I don't
it's
think
not there.
till next, I don't think that'll be until 26.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably,
that's right, Kyle, you're right.
We have the Freedom Rock in Manila, but I think
right.
it's
I
sort
know
of-
there's that thing in West Side right along the highway, that
Oh, yeah, the memorial.
veterans thing, or
Mhm.
there's that.
Yeah, they got a nice veterans,
I mean, the Dow House itself
It's
is,
nice.
yeah,
historic.
yeah,
Real nice.
and it's a short distance, it's not,
Gives
What
a little
else?
bit of Crawford County.
is there something in Schleswig or something?
Klondike Hotel.
You have Klondike.
Klondike in Manila,
Do they just want one
That's
spot
all.
or they want?
Oh, yeah.
Double.
Well, you could write down a few things and tell them, take your pick,
yeah, it kind of depends on their route or the,
you know, what they're.
Way
wanting, how
they're
much
wanting to go.
Please share any additional requests, comments, or questions.
You know, they claim Klondike.
oh,
Yes. That's why we had relatives in Manila.
I birth certificate said I was born in those.
Well, there's some options.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of something
Yeah.
else,
thank you.
there, that's for you then.
When do they want that sent back to them by?
I'm gonna try to do it.
Before summer or winter,
What's that?
Yeah,
fall, it'll work.
Is there? Okay.
Especially
Uh,
months of October, November.
Then I'll get to the next important issue in case you didn't notice that I'm sitting at the little kids table.
Oh, we need chairs for the
We
board
need to
table.
get chair. I was just thinking, you know what, this morning on my way in, I was thinking about the wheels because of the nice tile. Let's not screw it up. Let's get our wheels ordered. And if we can't decide on a
Let's just
chair,
get
just
chairs.
get wheel, kick coster or the casters. Well, you come in this morning, sat down and it didn't get up. So I don't know if it got broke or what.
I don't
but-
know what happened.
I liked what you sent.
You-
Okay,
I thought-
I'll get back on that.
Fine with me.
If they're
Yeah.
black, that's okay. For
Well, I'd like to have brown to match our wood grain, but if it's gonna cost a bunch more, then I can live with black.
Okay.
Black makes.
I don't, either black, brown, it don't bother me.
Do you mind, would you mind if like the back was this instead of a padded
I don't
back?
mind at all.
No, I don't.
And maybe just a cushion seat?
Could it be
and then-
heated and?
She had hardwood
Sister,
chairs.
come on.
Didn't we look at some, didn't you send us a picture of them?
I did, I can't remember what they were, that was a long time ago.
I thought that
I thought
I'll
those
find
look good, whatever you can get for those.
Those look
Okay.
good and they were pretty.
I'm trying to
costly.
just stay in like that $100 range, $150 range, you know, well, maybe it was a little more than that, but
Well, we keep them for a
Sorry.
long.
I'm gonna say,
I know.
get something that holds up pretty good.
yeah.
And that won't break, but I won't break. I don't know, this thing was fine when I left last week. but
Somebody
this
must
week I
have
sat
traded
down.
yours, cause Craig's used to be the broken one.
Craig, did you trade my chair? Somebody traded for you? I'm
Just saying.
Anyway.
Truth hurts.
Then I had, it was yesterday and I wasn't able to take a lot of notes. I was mobile. But I did get a couple of pictures of things that were important. My NACO ag. It was our full committee. Let me pull this up. And, Owen hasn't posted the stuff on. If I give you a briefing next week, it'd be a little bit, come on here. Secure rural schools reauthorization, there's probably a chance that could be cut some, and let me explain to you what secure rural school, it's an act, congressional act, where monies go out to these counties, in particular out west. I gotta wonder if there's monies available like Cassuth County, cause they've got so much government land up there, you know, and the DN or the USDA money, land and stuff, but especially where there's huge forest reserves, or there's a lot of the like where the out west, when you get out there, they got the leased ground that you can put cattle on. But it's all federal government owned, so there's no taxes for the county to survive off of. So this is actually a program that's designed, it's for more than just the schools, but they called it the Secure Rural Schools Act to get everybody's attention. And that might be something that's on the trimming block. But I don't think it's gonna get cut, but it was something that we were discussing
That's
yesterday.
interesting, Ty, though. I would have thought that even if a rancher rents that BLM ground, that a portion of that would go back to the county.
Well, now the BLM ground's a little bit different,
Or what?
but I'm trying to explain like anything that's where the government owns a ton of the ground, federal government owns a bunch of the ground. That's what this here does, the Secure Rural Schools thing, I'll just, let me read through it quick. Established in 2000 to provide financial support to counties with national forest land experiencing timber declining revenues. So, I mean, you got some good got good revenues like you brought up with the BLM land. But the forest reserves in particular, with the tree huggers and interference and other things that were starting to cut back on forest reserves ground, you know, as far as cleaning them up, I think that started to affect county budgets, you know, cause there was less revenues coming off them, okay? So that was probably part of it, okay, and it supports local essential services such as schools, roads and bridges, and emergency services and more. But helps stabilize county budgets in the areas that have large untaxable federal land, that's the BLM type stuff too. Anyway, and you know, there's times where even the ranchers, you know, probably are, you know, having issues making their payments, you know, when cattle prices suck, you know. Program authorization, it has currently lapsed, okay? And I don't know if that means that we're kind of like with the Farm Bill, one of them deals that's getting, but the program itself isn't fully funded. USFS, in the process of distributing timber receipt revenues to counties in place of SRS payments. So that's how they're trying to fund these counties that would be in trouble otherwise. HR 1383 and Senate File 356, would reauthorize the program through 2026, which by the time they figure out to do it, it'll be 2026, so. Anyway, it currently has, the Senate files currently, or the Senate bills currently got 26 co-sponsors. It's expected under unanimous consent to pass. 55 co-sponsors in the House, potentially will be included in House Ag Committee appropriations if we ever get in the committee, Appropriations Committee for Ag. So, I mean, it ain't listed in the Farm Bill or anything like that. So that's who's working on it, is the Ag Committee. House is currently hold up in reauthorization process. So there's that. Then the other thing with USDA, I'll kind of go through this for you. USDA plans to cut 30,000 potential staffers. That's nearly a third of its workforce. And I think it's a lot of the work at home folks that aren't coming in. But, you know, in doing this, they're actually gonna do that 16,000 people of it are a buyout. And, that's actually how many have done it so
I
far.
think they've done some already.
Yeah, that's
And
16,000.
they've rehired some back.
It's a few. I don't know about how much of the USDA is hired back, but some of the NRCS and stuff like that, I think, some of them got hired back. Anyway, they're looking to cut a third of their staff. 16,000 so far have done the buyout. Forest Service, the rural development and APHIS fields are the hardest to hit so far. But like you said, Cal, some of them have actually been bought back or hired back. USDA considering a move out. And they did this, remember when Senator Ernst was pushing for that? Way back in the day to move like the USDA to Kansas City. They did move some people to Kansas City, and they're talking about 3 regional hubs for USDA and get them out into these areas. But then that would also cut down, because Washington DC is probably the highest price rent in the nation. So, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons that'll help cut costs. So I'll be done in a sec here. Anyway, the press that USDA agencies moved out of Trump, DC in Trump administration. Yeah, that's what they're talking about doing. Okay, while the shakeup is progressing and NACO is looking at if they're tracking the impact. They asked if we're seeing anything out here, so in particular, like you guys that are using the USDA stuff all the time, if you see something where it's affecting our services, let me know so I can let Owen know right away so they can look at it for Iowa. And so any of our farmers that you guys talk to, if they're noticing where the USDA stuff's kind of interfering, or any other farmer types around here. If you're noticing something, let me know so Owen and the staff can kind of go up and bug them for us too, and then we'll obviously contact our own people too. All right, but that'll help, I don't know, we'll see. There's a lot of programs that are currently frozen. And, I mean, some stuff with the American Rescue Plan, mostly technical assistance, investment, stuff like that. We've got our money, no worries for us. Bioproduct pilot programs. I think that's, oh shoot, like where they're doing the composting, or not composting, but it's a word I'm looking for. Like with your waste management stuff and things like that. I think they're trying to figure out what they're wanting to finance there. Learning to lead, cultivating the next generation of diverse food and agriculture. A lot of this stuff was things that got created during the climate deal. So that's the stuff that's being looked at. You know, things that are typically programs before, they're just looking to cut a lot of the excess people is what they're after. You know, if you could afford to work from home and probably weren't getting a lot, weren't doing. In fact, yesterday when I was over an appointment at the VA, I heard them talking, they're still asking them to turn in what they did last week, papers. But some of them are doing it, others aren't. Nobody seems to be. I mean, will that be somebody that gets cut? I don't know. And anyway, so I assume that the rest of the agencies are doing the same thing. Farm loan borrowing program, the relief, that's for, I don't know, didn't sound to me like that, cause I asked, I said, would that be like the first time farmer? No, that's a different program, and then that was my answer. Okay. So, rural energy, for America program, I really didn't grasp what they were getting at, but that didn't sound like part of our ethanol and stuff like that, so. Forest Reserve 911 grant program, and just different things like that. A lot of them kind of fell under that, I don't want to, climate change program stuff is what a lot of these seem to be. So that's why they're wanting to see what them monies are actually going to. It doesn't sound like they were cut, they were freezing them to cut them. It sounded like they were freezing them to see what them monies were actually going to and freezing it in case they wanted to pull some of it back because it wasn't going where it was intended or for a very good purpose. That's what that pretty much sounded like. So that was what I got out of that meeting yesterday. It was kind of quick actually, but, I don't know, that's all I got. Sorry, these guys are here, but I'll shut up for now. If there's more you want to hear from, they go. They really didn't have much more than that anyway, so. All right.
Good morning. Good morning. Not a whole lot of exciting stuff on here this morning. So, or new and exciting, I should say. So, the bridge on, well, first of all, the bridge crew finished up the bridge that we built for Vale. That's now done.
Oh, it looks good.
It's gonna be great. That bridge will be there for
It looks really good.
time. You know, shouldn't be any issues. So that's done, and that chapter of that book we can close. Put it to rest.
Always good to be able to do that.
It is good,
Yeah.
yeah, it is good, yeah, that was a good fit.
I'm laying on the desk for the final.
Mhm. Yeah, so it's time to move on. Monday, they should be starting on the other one, on M55, and that continues to go as planned. The subgrade stabilization, I'm planning on doing that late July. So that should work out good. I mean, get us past the holiday, the 4th of July holiday, and it'd be nice if it would have been done before that, but you don't want to try to plan that during that. So that's where that's at. Great crew, finishing up a nice project up just north of Denison here on J Avenue, and then going to another one over east of there, on J Avenue, built by Tony Dieter's place there, the west of his house, so. Good project there to be working on. Bridge crew finished up that, they're going to work on a culvert replacement over there on J Avenue. After that, and the roadside crew is busy seeding, so. With the nice rains that we have gotten, that's helped that seed out quite a bit that they did get done, so. They'll continue seeding that, the granular surfacing summit. Just kind of as a sidebar to this, I volunteered Crawford County to participate in a granular surfacing research project through the Iowa Highway Research Board. We've been involved in this for about 3 years now. They wanted to do the subgrade stabilization, and not subgrade stabilization, but it's basically looking at optimizing the granular surfacing that we use. Remember that test strip that we did out here on Lincoln Way a number of years ago? We just kind of did our own. We had signs up, and every half mile we changed the product that we used, and then we added to it. You know, one was just straight gravel, one was gravel with roadstone, one was gravel with 1-inch clean crushed limestone, and one was all crushed limestone. We kind of did our own little test strip. Well, this is similar to that, but it's 1/4 mile sections that's being looked at from a, you know, more of a very detailed engineering, these guys can attest to. We had the Iowa State University professors and Michigan State University is involved in it as well. But they're gonna do the test section on the morning or the day before the granular surfacing summit. So that'll be on the 17th of June. The granular surfacing summit will be on the 18th of June. So we're gonna invite, you know, the surrounding counties, and then that can be talked about, and they can go out and take a look at it. But it's gonna be Deloitte Boulevard, just down by my place. Simply because it's close, easy to monitor, and the aggregate's close. The crushed limestone, so.
It's well traveled too.
And it's well traveled. Yes, it's well traveled, so it'll be a good test case. But basically what they're doing is they're taking our materials and they've ran them through a variety of tests, freeze thaw test, durability test. And then what they do is they look at optimizing the proportion, the relative proportion of the different types of materials that we use. So they came and got big 50-gallon drums of 1-inch commercial roadstone and the gravel that we get from Kate's pit, and then ran all these tests on it. And so then, you know, they're using the theory and applying the theory and saying, okay, if we do 30% roadstone, 40% 1-inch commercial, and the balance is maybe existing material, you know, they're trying to develop kind of an optimization curve is what they're trying to do. So they've done that in the lab. They want to do real world ones. We're doing it. And then, I think it's Humboldt County or Hamilton County, the other county, or Chickasaw, okay, is the other county up in northeast Iowa that's doing the same thing. So, you know, in order for them to do research and conduct it, they have to have places to do it. So the good news is we're gonna get a whole bunch of material paid for, and they'll pay for the aggregate, but then we'll have to do the work, yeah, to get it incorporated. So that's going on Tuesday, weather permitting, Tuesday, June 17th. And on June 18th, we'll have the granular surfacing summit. So I'll be sending kind of advanced notices out to the counties to have them be aware of that date. I have Staley's lined up, you know, grill pork chop dinner. I figure we'll just charge everybody $10, and whatever the extra is, it's gonna cost us $12.75 or something with plus a tip, and just charge whoever comes $10 and the county subsidizes the balance. That makes sense.
Sounds good.
Makes
I think
sense,
it'd
yeah.
be an easy way to handle it. $10 is easy.
Good timing to have them coincide together.
It is, because then they can go look at it, you know, hopefully it'll be done. And then this Jeremy Ashlock, who's the lead, on that research project, he's gonna also talk, so he can come out that Tuesday, spend the night, and then be there the next morning for our.
Perfect.
So that's kind of where that's at. The new dump trucks should be here late this week or later this week or early next week. Our spray truck unfortunately is gonna be delayed until July. Every time I call the guy, it gets later.
We're calling him.
I told him, I said, I'm not calling you anymore. Cause, he wasn't sure about May. We were supposed to have it the second week of May. But apparently there were some trucks for San Diego, the city of San Diego. They were way out in the northwest, up in Auburn, Washington, where we get this from. So our Ford chassis is there. They just, now they've got other ones to build ahead of it. So, yeah, you know, that is all I have.
Sounds good.
Perfect timing, we have a
Yep.
public hearing.
Okay.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
It's 10. It's 9:58.
All right, sounds good.
I'm sure the tabloids.
You got here just time to work.
Could I borrow the folder time?
Yes, I was just bogering.
Please.
I think I gotta sign some things off.
Few minutes, yep. Oh, Lord, what'd y'all do with this thing?
Made a mess of
Made a
things.
mess of it.
We just root through there like some hogs in the water.
Yeah. Something like that.
And we
Very
can
much.
jot down who's on Zoom or.
Yep, already did.
Very good.
Unless it's changed, nope, not changed. I did, I wrote it down.
Good call.
Mhm.
Hey, this 9 o'clock.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing in regards to the.
Thank you, Kyle.
Second that.
We have a motion second, all in favor of opening the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We are in public hearing. Any?
No written
Any written
objections.
No written?
Yep, no written objections.
I've had no calls.
Sign here. Anybody in the audience?
Objection.
Comments, questions? Anybody on Zoom?
You know, as I researched what I talked about earlier, and when you go through those pages, I usually just stop when it's not, when there's writing, so, you know, it's a resolution, or they're talking about something. A couple times I stopped when it was their budget hearing, and this was in the, you know, early thirties, and they had no one in attendance. No one in attendance. So things haven't changed that much in almost 100 years.
I mean, to say it like that, I didn't think the thirties was that long ago. They said, oh, for 100 years.
We have no written.
I just by by. Yeah.
When you're having fun, yeah.
And that was wrong in the thirties, so I didn't seem to have long.
No written or oral objections. Entertain a motion to come out of public hearing.
I move we close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Any motion? Second by Kyle. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We are on a public hearing.
What time is it?
It is
10:01.
10:01.
Look at you, so efficient.
That's efficient. Efficiency is best.
Discuss and take action resolution. Approval of FY 25-26 budget and certification of taxes.
Motion approved.
A motion by Kyle,
I'll second.
second by Jean. Any further discussion or questions? There's motion, so we'll do roll call. Say aye if you're in favor. Kyle,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Jean,
Aye.
Ty,
Aye.
chair votes aye.
Done.
Done.
Now, that seems like we actually took care of all that a long time ago.
It does.
30.
Oh, wow.
Say, Jerry, just a quick
Resolution.
question.
We could do that.
But
Yes.
I thought the resolutions go in order, so did we just approve 2025-18?
They do usually.
And 2025, then, is it 17 or should that be 19?
No, it's
It
17.
is.
Yeah,
Okay.
the order of them within the meeting, I don't think has much
see.
relevance,
Gotcha.
but
Gotcha.
yeah.
Kyle had a good point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since Sarah, Sherry are here, we could quick, discuss, take action, resolution 25-17, elected official compensation.
And Paul, that might take a little longer.
Yep.
Yep, let's do it.
Yeah, and it was in the packet. It was exactly what we discussed back in January.
January.
In January, or
Yeah.
middle of January.
Yeah, so I'd make a motion to approve that resolution as published and as we discussed in January in regards to the compensation of elected officials.
Second.
A motion by Kyle, second by Ty. Any further discussion? Roll call,
So by resolution.
my resolution. Kyle,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Jean,
Aye.
Ty,
Aye.
chair votes aye. Motion carries. Good. Now we're ready for you, Paul.
Come on down. You don't have any, you want to bring your chair with you? I don't think.
I just wanted to do a kind of a quarterly update with you folks and what we're doing in our office. Did want to introduce Tammy Long, our new tourism coordinator. She's been on board about 6 months. And I'll let her kind of go through what she's been working on since.
Okay, well, I've been working on a lot stuff. Well, my first thing to do when I first started was to do the winter snorkel, and we thought that went on pretty good. It was pretty cold that day. Right now, I have a lot of things going on. Barbecue Fest, we're getting sponsorship, we're getting, we're just really starting to get
Got
things
your
on.
bands picked out.
We have got our music all lined up and everything. We're working on Hot Summer Nights with Libio. That's going very well. We've got a lot of great sponsors. My job was to, do the permits and stuff like that, plus line up the food trucks, so we got that all done. In March, I went to the Travel Iowa Tourism Conference. Got a lot of great ideas. Farm to table is a big thing in Iowa right now, so, and then also AI. AI is big. Let's see. I've been updating the Visit Denison Crawford County site on Facebook and, Travel Iowa. Putting a lot of the county, items in the Travel Iowa so that if people go to Travel Iowa, they know what's going on in Crawford County, not just Denison, the whole county. I've been reaching out to the different counties, or the different towns, trying to get them included. So it's not just Denison. And let's see here. This weekend, I went to the Klondike Hotel for their spring luncheon. That was my first time ever going there, so that was a really cool thing. And then I'm also on the Little Red Schoolhouse Board of Directors, trying to get that something that people can come to Crawford County for. And a lot of cool things going on right now.
So I just want to ask a quick question. So if you had people coming to Crawford County, where would you tell them to visit, to make sure that they visit?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things here that are so cool to visit. As I'm getting around Crawford County, I mean, when I first moved here, I just stayed within Denison. I didn't know how much stuff there was around here, so much history. And so, I mean, all of our towns, our little towns are amazing. I love Manila, Vale. I love them all. Coming from a big city, I embrace this small town culture.
What city did you come from?
I came from Salt Lake City.
Okay, yeah, a bigger city, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Just a little.
Just a little bit.
yeah, just a little bit, you know, millions of people to a few thousand. So, yeah, I definitely, this is a great place to be and a great time to be here. Hot Summer Nights, we are definitely, including the whole county this time. We have celebrity bartenders, which is celebrities to these towns, who will be, earning money for their parks, for any of their things they have going on. I know Deloitte has their 176. Is that what it is? 176 coming up? And so they're trying to earn money for that. Yeah. So,
Well,
we've
what we're
got
doing
them.
there is, they're gonna be bartenders and then their tips will go to that,
Awesome.
to those.
Yeah.
Good idea.
So tip me well on Charter Oak.
Yeah. Plus, we're gonna have,
What service you get?
a dunk tank. And
I
all
have
those
to-
proceeds will go towards the different towns and their, whatever they want to do with their funds.
Ty would be a great candidate for a dunk tank.
Well, then, you know what?
I do the bartending.
Ty has fun with the bartenders. I've got some video of that, so if you ever want to see that.
Yeah, so we're pretty excited about everything that's going on, and we have more ideas, but let's get through the first few things first. Thank you.
On the chamber side, I sent around a packet, that last page, kind of what we're working on right now is membership investment. Reaching out to, we've switched from a kind of, as you go dues to a tiered dues, it's called. That's kind of, industry-wide, that's kind of the thing that's changing right now, is going to something like that, where a business can look at exactly what they're getting for their investment in that, and kind of been working on that basically for quite a while, actually, just implementing that now. So we're reaching out to businesses now and kind of getting that in front of them. Some of the other things we're doing, the Ignite co-working space is now open. There's a sheet in there on that. And then we're just finishing up the Leading Edge Leadership Program. We had 10 people start. One did go to a different company, different job, so they had to drop out. So we have 9 that'll be graduating actually next week from that program, and it's been a really good program for us.
Don Lunsman's been, running.
He's been facilitating that, yeah. Yeah, and it's great to have, that leadership right here in town that he can, step in and do that for us, and he's been great to work with. The other thing we did here, I was on the, rural housing readiness assessment, for here in Denison. There was a group of people that, went through that, and, it was through Iowa State. And, you know, I think I mentioned last time I was here, we did Denison because it was kind of a last minute deal. Knew it needed to kind of happen as, I was a year into the project, maybe not even that yet, a year into my job, and basically them just taking us by the hand and kind of leading us through that housing element. So we learned a lot there. And something I would really like to, to put a bug in the ear, would like to reach out to the communities in the county and do one as a county also. What it amounts to is, it costs $5,000 to do the study. But you have to commit as a county then to put $10,000, 5,000 of that would be that study. But then you would get a grant for 20,000. That's what it was last year. They haven't come out what this year's is, but every year they're pretty similar. I would guess it would be close to that. And that
You
kind of,
pay 10 and get 20?
yeah. And basically, you put 10 in, so you'll have a pool of $30,000 that you can use for housing elements. You wanted to create, if you wanted to put it in LMI, you could do that. If you wanted to, create, whatever you wanted, a $500 down payment, and split that up that way, or $5,000, whatever you want to do with that, you come up with what the best thing for community is. And, they kind of frowned on doing it, as a county, actually, when I asked about it, but I think just because they hadn't done many of them, but I think as a county, I think it would work fine, and, whoever put the money in then would have access to that money. We'd have to come up with some process logistics wise to how those funds were distributed among those towns. So, something I'm still working on, so I'll probably, not anything to do now, but, something I'll probably come back to you and maybe ask for some funding for that possibly, if that would be a possibility. That front page is the kind of the one part. Here's the whole the whole report we got. So a lot of information. A lot of that was just stuff that we collected from interviews that we did, or from things that we put out to the community to get back. So that's kind of what we're taking from that and trying to move that action plan forward for that. I did go to a couple Rural Economic Development Council events, and PBI was one of those. I think I've been to that before. I've mentioned before. Those are always really good. You always meet people that for connections. And next week I'm going to Community Venture Network in Minneapolis for a day to that company basically brings companies that are looking for towns where they can move or where they can grow into. And it's a good place to just meet those businesses that are looking for communities to move to or grow into. So, and it's nice to have that face-to-face interaction. So, and we do have our podcast up and running. So I open invitation to any of you if you have things you want to talk about at that level, and put it out there. Obviously, right now, just starting out, we don't have a lot of views, but hopefully that'll grow over the next few years. So.
Hour long enough for you guys?
I can get warmed up.
I could see the glow happening over there.
Joe Rogan's doing 3 hours,
There you go.
And I do attend Western Iowa Advantage too. I don't know if I've mentioned that before. It's a 7-county group that meets together as for the economic development side of those counties, and we work together with Region 12 on that. So, any questions for me?
I got some.
Sure.
Obviously, have been thinking about some stuff, you know, with the tariff stuff and what have you going on. What is, the state development group, what are they telling you about potentials out there, sniffing, people that are looking? You know, you talked about going to Minneapolis, but I mean, what are you hearing? I mean, I'm not going up to the international thing this year.
Sure.
Now I kind of wish I'd waited a year to go, because this might be a hot year.
Right, yeah.
you
So
know?
far, most of the ones that, the bigger companies they talked to had things in place for basically 6 months out. So they haven't, reached the point where they're taking, where that's become a problem yet. But they're all of them are obviously watching very closely to see what happens.
It's good. I mean, and obviously, we still gotta get our, shovel-ready areas done, because that's what's killing us, but I was just wondering what you were hearing, because now there might be some willing to help invest in making shovel-ready areas. In
Right.
fact, that's what I was kind of.
Speaking of that, I have been working on a couple. We have one here in town with the development group that owns 40 acres, out kind of by the concrete plant there. I've worked on that a little bit. The main problem I'm running into with getting those, there's a plan called, for the shovel ready, it's getting them through IEDA, where they, if you show them that you have everything ready, shovel ready for that, electrical, all the utilities, things like that. And even to the point where maybe there's a pad poured or something. Or they're pad ready.
Already got street work.
Yeah, so they put that kind of on the next level and put that on their website. There's a site that site selectors can go to and look at that. The main thing we're into there is, the utility that they need to get, approved for that is, a megawatt, and to get that to those sites. I did the one here in town and the one in Manila also, just outside of town there. They have about 75 acres. And to get that there, it's a long, when I started, yeah, it's 4 to 5 years. At the last WIAD meeting, the gentleman did back that down to 3 years now, so.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that's good, that's a good sign
That's
that,
help.
that they're working on that.
Does that property out there by the plant, does that have the utilities there, or is it
It's very close.
very close? Okay.
Yep. Not to the wattage needed for that amount, but just for a general a smaller business, it would be very close.
Very close.
Right at the edge of the property, I think, remember that. And we are gonna be promoting that, I went to the Development Unlimited, annual meeting here just a couple weeks ago, and, trying to get more knowledge about that property out there.
Get promoted.
People know, yeah,
Good deal. So a lot going on.
we're trying.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So when you go to these meetings, the biggest holdup is we just don't have a site.
If you wanna look at an example, right now, Des Moines just finished one that's kind of down in the southeast part of town there, where the 5 goes around down there, just inside the loop there. They're kind of completing it. Have you guys seen that? It's a big shovel ready. I mean, they're doing a lot of stuff there. And that's all they keep talking about, is basically the things that Paul and I talked about, or he just brought up. That's what these site selectors are looking for. And
So is the
almost
city of
every
Des
one of
Moines-
these big companies to mid-size or even small companies will hire these, when they're looking to move somewhere, they hire these site selectors. And we've got rail, but we don't have the 4-lane, which is a thing that hurts us. But it's something that's overcomable. Is that a word? We're gonna go with it.
Overcomable.
Okay, you can overcome it. However, it's still a big hindrance. However, those are the different things that the big things they look at. But then they're still looking at, is it shovel ready? Is electricity there? How much electricity is there? Water supplies. I mean, these are some of the things that have been really kicking us right inside of the booty whenever we're trying to recruit somebody. We just don't have any of those things. So them are things that Paul and some of the others have been really working.
So Ty, does the city of Des Moines or Polk County purchase these properties from private landowners and then develop them for?
I don't know how this would work.
Purchase?
I'd be speaking out of turn. We could do a little
Some
more
do.
research,
Some
but
do.
some
Yeah.
cities do that.
A lot of times it's even a cooperative between the county, city, utilities, getting a fund together to do that type of thing.
Like if we did it just outside, if it involved this table, we'd be doing it outside of Denison city limits. So we'd probably try to partner with Whipco and anybody else that might be, you'd try to seek partners to help share the finance, but they'd also help you try to recruit the type of people that helps their businesses too, right? And, interesting part, like with the electric companies, they help get you guys' power rates down, they just need more customers. So you'd think that would pull away from the grid for you, but it actually doesn't hurt you. The more customers they have, the more resources they have, therefore your prices can go down. So it would behoove the Board of Supervisors to help our rural area in getting more industry outside of the city, and DMU could still service like water and stuff like that if we were relatively close. Which is DMU's water supply and how they're working on some stuff there. And I can say that Rory's working on ways to improve his water supply. From the last meeting I sat in down there were some things he's talking about. I'm not gonna speak out of turn because that's his department, but he is working on some stuff to help rebuild the well, well capacity and stuff, or the well levels and stuff like that. So anyway, those are the big things, and like you said, sometimes the city or the counties get involved in that, sometimes it's private developers. Private developers will show up wherever they see easy money to come, obviously, and at first, we would probably have to do investing as the county governments or the city governments. But, once you start being an area that people wanna be, I'm pretty sure we'd have to get the heck out of the way and just make sure regulation didn't bother anybody.
And, some of that could be in kind, like if you were to, you guys build roads. So,
Yeah,
if
there you
we
go.
had a quarter-mile road that needed to be paved up to that point, that could be
You
part
got
of
one of the
it.
best road crews in the county, or in the country, yeah, damn sure in the state.
He mentioned, being ready, just in passing, I was talking to Ty a few weeks ago, and he says, yeah, we've got a rail spur out there that they said if you ever needed it, let me know. And I didn't know, even a year and a half in, I didn't know about that, so.
Shells.
Yeah, so, that's something where I could have pitched that, when I wouldn't have known to pitch it probably at the time, it was, 3 months in. But there was companies that are looking for rail, and even if it's close like that, where they could get on a spur, they will at least consider us, so. Yeah, and like that, if there's any big buildings around the county that I don't know about, or, that are sitting empty, that, people would sell, rent, or whatever to people coming in, let me know if you see that, and if you see that out in the county,
I
cause.
think all of our small towns have space.
Yeah, and because if I don't know about it, it's tough for me to, pitch somebody that's available, so.
And that's one thing I'd like Charter Oak recently, and I'm speaking for them because I just see it on our what's happening page, but like Julie Staley and some of the others around that, they got their own little CDC for the town set up now. And I think if you guys reached out to them, whether it was for tourism things or for
Probably
things,
both.
the whole gambit. I mean, I don't think that would hurt, as far as knowing what's out there to be able to present to them. Manila is one of our proactive towns, and obviously Celeste, so them too.
Yeah.
But I would never leave out any of the others that as things disappear, there's potential in old buildings, if they're superstructures worth a darn, or an empty lot that's got electricity and stuff there. I mean, it may not necessarily be a big building, but somebody wanted to own a butcher shop in the right part of Iowa, nice. Actually, with Board and Arrows over in Carroll, I was with a group at one point. We lost a member, so I kind of lost his fire, but he hadn't built his slaughter facility yet, and, when we were talking, I said, oh, I should have known that. He said, I could have hauled meat from Crawford County to Carroll County. He said, that'd have been great to have partners in that. And then you had a butcher, ready-made butcher in part of the process, boy, so. You never wanna cut them things out, you wanna make sure that these guys know and work with them, so. When you hear things in your communities, please let them know. Sorry, I've taken a little bit of your
That's
time.
all right.
It made me think of a few things.
One last thing I meant to mention was, I would love to meet with each of you individually at some point, and just kind of get to know you guys better and see what your, core things that you're looking from us are. So
That'd be
I'll
great.
reaching out.
Sounds good.
Okay, appreciate it.
Well, thanks for coming.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Thanks, Tammy.
Nice to meet you guys.
Guys later.
Needs to be on wheels.
We could probably get a couple chairs for when we get our new ones.
Mhm.
This one probably we shouldn't keep.
Probably not.
We don't get a little
Just
kid.
trade it with somebody.
Greg, you're terrible, I tell you.
Discuss and take action, set date and time, location, public hearing for budget amendment.
So let me hand out a quick little. Handouts are fun.
He was a pretty good hire, what do you think?
Very good.
Yeah. Thank you, Mal.
So yeah, second final budget amendment of the year. The biggest portion of the budget amendment is the sheriff's department. They had a lot of retirements, payouts of, you know, time and whatever, that kind of stuff.
They have like 3 retirements.
I can't remember, to be honest. I believe so, yeah.
Dining.
To include the sheriff and, yeah.
So the sheriff has comp time and stuff then too?
No, not the sheriff. I don't know what his payout was, to be honest. I don't know what. I'd have to look back and see.
Vacation, yeah, good point.
Nope, sheriffs don't get vacation,
They don't
or
get-
they don't earn vacation. They're elected,
So none of us do. I
right?
mean, sheriff
Well, you
included,
don't get any more vacation. You're
none of you
done.
full timers.
Just
I
kidding,
seem to have,
just
I
kidding.
seem to have an ample supply.
They're working on a new K-9. Molly, I believe, is our active K-9
Mhm.
and aging out. I mean, and having some health issues, I believe it was the part that I heard, that Axon contracts. So there was something with the contracts that didn't get paid when they were supposed to, so it has built up. So I believe that 30,000 is a current contract and a previous year contract. I don't know what happened. I don't know what,
Stands for.
do not know that answer.
Is anybody here? I don't know.
The jail medical, is constant problem. They've had an exorbitant amount. He's asking for another $17,000. And then radio tech. Let's see, the attorney, is asking for a budget amendment for the health insurance portion of his budget. I don't know what happened. I don't know if someone got on insurance that he didn't account for. I'm not sure what exactly happened.
Family.
But just a little under $6,000 total between health and dental,
Body cams.
insurance.
I think it'd
Axon,
be body cams.
I think you're right.
Axon?
I think you're right.
I think it's body cams.
is it? Thank you. Let's see, conservation, they had that piling work done on that accessible dock out at Yellowstone. And a secondary roads helped with that. They need to pay them for that, and they're gonna pay them out of that conservation trust fund. The money is in the trust fund. They just didn't have, spending authority on it,
Can't
so
hardly
it's,
Family. don't
yeah,
have a big
some of that
chunk
was a
that
big
money.
donation.
They've
Was it
got
about
put in a
$12,000
conservation
maybe?
fund, So they just need the spending authority to get it out.
Conservation.
yeah, the I know.
See that?
You have to assume a lot. No, don't assume. And then the capital projects fund is, for the courthouse. Just to make sure we get through all the projects that are going on currently, whether it be HVAC, flooring's done.
Triple
The,
CS.
Did I
Yeah.
see some of the new trim board down in the conference room? It's lighter color. There's,
no,
looks like some trim board down there. It's a different color,
it's probably a different color. That's newer
the
stuff.
new stuff.
Does that
That's
include,
not the stuff that's going in.
Well, that's not this new
No,
stuff.
does that
no.
include our parking lot?
Our parking lot, what parking lot are you just talking about?
Family purchase?
Oh, that one? Hopefully it does. I don't know if it does. It should.
Okay.
It should, yes, that should be plenty for that.
So Terry, and I guess, since it is a public meeting, but on
Yeah.
a budget amendment does not change the amount of taxes.
We
that are
cannot
levied.
change the
Right,
amount
so I
of
just wanna make
taxes.
sure that
That is
everyone
correct.
Comes out of our
is aware of that.
Comes
It's
out of
our
reserves.
reserves. And it
It's
doesn't,
basically spending authority of
Right.
those reserves. Yeah, to
Some
certain
of it's-
departments. Some of it's the general fund, like the sheriff's portion is general fund, the attorneys. And those insurances, they come out of our general supplemental fund. The conservation trust fund is a different fund. And then the capital projects fund is yet another fund. So yeah, they're all different funds, and that amount for the capital projects, that money is available in the fund, we just didn't have the spending authority to spend it, and we may not spend it, so it would stay in that fund.
But it'd be enough to cover what.
Right, it
potentially
would
is
cover, yeah,
end of the year.
things like that. What was that, 29 or 28,000? I can't even remember now.
Look back. I
So
think it's
yeah,
like 20
hopefully the attorney
28.
gets that deed done and we can finish that project out. So setting a date would be, our publication would happen on, I believe, the 8th and 9th. So the earliest date for the amendment would be May 20th. Cause it's no less than 10, no more than 20 days.
May
The
20th, 10 AM.
10 a.m.
I have a motion for that?
I have one.
Oh, go ahead, ask your question.
On the salaries for the sheriff, those are all payouts, or did some people get raises that were after the fact?
No, I don't believe so. No, it's just to be able to pay salaries for the rest of the year.
Okay.
Because of the payouts that happen mid-year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then Axon is, they do
I
IT
know.
stuff, but they also do weapons things, but then like, they could be the cameras for the squad cars or body cam, stuff like that. And since it's a contract, I'm gonna guess it's body cams and squad car stuff.
Is it just me, or does that seem like a lot of payouts in one year?
it is, but it was.
It was, we had three,
Yeah,
right?
I believe it was 3. Todd Stater was 1, Jim was 1. Jim, I don't think had much of a payout just because he's not like the rest of them
Right.
as an elected official.
Troy,
Troy, that's right.
they were all high upper ranking.
So that
they
would
had
be
a
their
higher-
comp time, their
Yeah.
vacation
Yeah.
time, what else would go into that payout that were $77,600
Time
for?
sick, accrued sick leave. Yes, and
Accrued sick is only, it would be, if they retired, it would be a maximum of $2,000. Not,
Who else?
they don't get, otherwise they don't
Somebody
get
else.
paid out for sick time.
Okay.
But yeah, it would be comp time, it would be any vacation time on the books. So yeah,
It'd be nice, I guess.
I can
if
get you
were-
those details.
Well,
Okay, I mean,
But
if you
yeah.
were,
Maybe a couple of days.
if you were a department head requesting, I think you should be here at this meeting.
I
So we
kind
can
of,
ask
Right, and I
questions.
don't know that I really made him aware that it
Okay.
was happening, so it
Okay.
is not his fault that
it
he's
just
not
seems
here.
like a lot for.
I know, I thought the same thing, cause
It's
I
like-
asked a bunch of questions
Yeah, it
and,
does concern me a little bit, $77,600 in payouts.
Yep.
And when one person didn't get a whole lot, that's basically 2. So for monitoring our comp time like we're kind of supposed to keep this from being, $30,000 payouts is, for each one is
Right.
what it would look like.
exactly,
And that-
that's a
I don't
department
know if
head.
these are any, I don't, yeah.
How much can you blame with our new sheriff though? 'Cause
I'm
he's
not
just
blaming
doing it.
anybody for anything. It would just be nice to see how far off of the policy we are, to
Yep.
see if we are
Is some of this a
trying
new
to.
hire that wasn't in last year's budget? That was.
Rogers was the other payout, Terry,
Oh,
for his vacation and all
Yep.
of that.
Oh,
Thank
yeah,
you.
because he
When
became the
took
sheriff.
over.
There, I told you, there was somebody else we were missing.
That's why I asked the question, so it makes sense to me, if I'm scratching my head, I have to be able to, compartmentalize the.
I knew there was one
Pretty
more we
good
were
size.
missing.
Well, we can,
Hey, I'll
Have
make a
Roger.
motion to set the
Okay,
public hearing for the budget amendment for May
Yeah, we know
10th
that.
at 10 a.m.
May 20th.
May
May
20th.
20th at 10 a.m.
Thank you.
Can we have a
I'll second
motion?
that.
Second, Gene beat you, Craig.
I just watched it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all say aye.
Aye.
Alright, chair votes aye.
All right, thank
Hey,
you.
there's cherry thing there too.
I'll see if Roger can come up and
I think-
bring some clarity to some of that
I think
information.
There was gonna be questions, and I would just like to be able. to-
Absolutely, yeah.
And that'd be the perfect time.
Yeah,
public
I can
hearing.
do that. I should have
public
made sure
hearing,
he was
fine.
gonna be
It's
here,
okay.
but I didn't.
It's okay, we just set a date.
Okay, discuss take action liquor license, 5 Mile, saw it in the packet.
Make the motion, we approve.
Motion by Jean.
liquor License
Second.
by my house.
Second by Ty. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Alright,
Chair votes aye.
Just gonna put it in the back.
Perfect price for it.
You have anything else for us, Terry?
What's?
No, we went through that ISAC thing.
Our liquor license is only for 1 year, is that the most we can?
That's the most, yeah. Yeah. I don't think I have any yet.
Citizens input, anybody on Zoom?
Like keep the idle chat to the minimum.
All right, hearing none.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, Gaines, Craig, all in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
All right, very good.
10:35.
I don't think you broke any records, but you did good. Terry, I was gonna show you this. I had my checkup at the Broadway Dental. And so I had to write a check for $114.